Yeah, so the main program for the operation of the supersetter is called CTP User Interface. So it's going to be this one down here in the corner.
Okay.
All right, so in the morning, you're going to start the CTP User Interface, or, you know, if you don't turn it off, it'll just have it on. The main thing with this box is the computer has to be on for the supersetter to boot up.
Okay.
Okay. The supersetter basically gets its brains from the computer. So, red switch on is down like this, and then you just hit the button.
Okay.
Now the machine will come on even if the computer is not on, but it will not boot up. So it has to wait. It's going to make a connection to the computer, and then it's going to boot. So we got to give it a minute or so. Sometimes you have to be patient because you'll be like, is it doing anything? What's happening? But in a few minutes, you'll start hearing some beeping. For us as techs, we will use this other down here, tools. Oh, now you hear the beeping. So once you start seeing flashing here, we can use this tool that opened up this, and we can see what it's doing.
And you're entering the same
No,
password?
this is a separate password.
That's the other one that's underneath there?
No,
Oh.
this is a totally separate thing for
We got to
technicians
pay
or
extra
whatever.
for that?
You know,
I'm just kidding.
I'll tell it to you. The password is actually Marine Arsenal, one
Okay.
word, but a capital M.
But we won't need to worry about that's like if a tech comes in or something.
If a tech comes in, but we may call you and say, hey, we need you to put that password
Gotcha.
in.
Gotcha.
Okay.
But here I can see what it's doing. Normally you will never have this window open.
Okay.
In a minute or so, you're going to start to see down here, it's going to say step X of 128, and it has to go through all those steps in order for it to boot up.
Okay.
If you leave the computer on and the supersetter on more than 24 hours, every 24 hours it has to do a safety test. And so if you left everything on and you came in tomorrow morning and you go to make a plate, first thing it's going to do is go through the safety test. You can't do anything until it's finished.
Okay.
How long does that take?
5 minutes. Or
5
so.
minutes. Okay.
It's the same thing as like rebooting.
Okay.
But the
Oops, sorry.
if you turn the machine off, turn it back on, reset it for any reason, do a clear an error, it resets that clock. So you're going to see in a little bit, you'll see the clock down here, and they'll tell you how much time before the safety loop check has to happen.
Okay.
So do you recommend generally that you, typically shut it off at the end of the day?
Most shops.
Okay,
I mean, obviously you have a lot of shops that run 24 hours.
right. But if you're not doing that, then just shut it off at the end of the day and turn it on.
Of course, a lot of places we go to, I think it's going to be different for you guys because I'm sure you have your compressor on all the time. Maybe
Air
not on
compressor?
weekends, yeah.
Yeah, we usually shut it down at night.
At night, okay, all right. Well, that's an important thing because the supersetter has to have the air on to complete the boot up. If you don't, you're going to get a safety error. Yeah, so right here it's doing the steps, but the what's part of the safety is any of the safety switches, the e-stop, the doors all have keys on them. If you open up the door, and air.
Does it tell you what the air problem or if it's an air?
Yep.
It's an air problem.
Well, usually what's going to happen is it's going to say safety loop error, but it will tell you, the error will tell you what's happening. Yeah.
Okay.
Not always exactly, but most of the time it's going to have tell you exactly what it is, but not always.
Gives you a 4-digit error code too.
And we could call you guys and tell you what the code is.
Well, yeah, that's the main thing.
Okay.
The codes are hierarchical, so what happens is the first code is going to create the other ones. So in other words, once you say a safety loop error, and then it starts shutting down voltages and doing other things to keep the machine from working, because you're not going to be able to, if you pull a cover off, it's to prevent you from the mechanics from working or the laser, so that you can't go in there and get injured or something.
Gotcha.
You're going to get these solid green dots here. We're going to go through the process just to show you what happens with when it gets an error. So if I do that, now we're going to safety loop error. So you might get this message, any part of the covering may be off, or you check the covering, because the same thing will happen whether you open a door, hit a stop, that type of thing. And then right here where it says supply of compressed air broke down, that's because it's shutting these things off so that you can't operate them. If you're going to click here, wherever you move the mouse pointer over one of these icons, it's going to tell you what it is. So this one says open the dialog of the recorder error messages. When you click this, it's going to show you what the errors are. Usually it's just one, but in this case we got multiple errors here because of what it's doing. And it'll say any part of the covering isn't closed correctly. And then the main error we want you to tell us is this first error. You can tell us all these errors, but we need to know the first one. A lot of times the customer will say, you got an error, and we'll go, what's the error number? I don't know, we corrected it. And then it's not going to help us because we don't know. So, and the second part of this is hit display service text. A lot of times, because this is going to tell you what you might need to do. And it says check the safety loop switches and the emergency switch. In this case, it's the emergency switch. And it's very likely you're going to come in the morning. I mean, some point somebody is going to come along and maybe talking or something, and they're going to accidentally hit one of these, and you're not going to know it. And then you go start the machine up, and you get the error.
It's not that easy.
Yeah, if it's beeping like this, then it's possible you don't want to listen to that. You can hit the button, it'll stop.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sometimes
That's an important one.
Yeah.
So then you're just going to do correct error, and it's got to go through that whole routine again.
Oh, the whole kind of boot up process again.
The main one you're going to get, because this is where you're going to load plates. And we'll get to this part. This is how you load the plate.
Okay. It just tells you how long you have until it needs to do this.
Yeah. So it has to
Try
be
to
every,
and counting.
but every time you, like I said, if you do an error correction.
The wife isn't.
I know. I told my wife. I said, "How come you never spin around in circles when I get home?" So, the main thing you're going to do is about loading the plates, and so this one is the top drawer, bottom drawer. Okay. So in this case, we don't have any in the top, so now we're going to put some in there. So again, wherever you move the mouse point, it's going to tell you what it's for. Unload the cassette.
Is there a reason why you have two drawers?
Yeah. So if you run out of plates in one, it'll automatically go to the second one.
Plus, I assume if you had different size pieces.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you have different.
That's
Your
typically what you really
yeah.
want it for.
Exactly. In your case, you only have the one
Right.
side. Right. Yeah.
One time.
So now this beeping, operator action required, that box should come to the front, but a lot of times it doesn't.
Okay.
All right, so when you're going to open this, just pull it, get a handle, and just let it here, and you're gonna pull this all the way out. We're gonna load plates. So the very first time, you don't know, the size of the plate. So the main thing is you're gonna load them in here and center them. Okay.
And you do it face down or face up?
The emulsion is up. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we got an open full box over here.
Yeah. Not a full box.
No, I used those.
Oh, you did. Well, then never mind. Cannot.
Yeah, I didn't. So
The emulsion side we want to be up.
I don't know if you're gonna end up where you're gonna end up wanting to keep the place when you do that.
On this one, we didn't set the guide, I believe, so.
And you leave that paper in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are all the
Okay.
very first.
That's the only way to do it, right? You open it,
Right,
oh,
right.
okay.
Right, yeah, I mean, you can set it up to do a manual feed from the face, but
Use this guy right here.
yeah, if you're running the same size plate, you don't need to, even, I mean, it's got 2 trays, so I'll.
Using one size, once we set it,
It's one and done.
yeah. And you want these fairly close, just a little bit. Keep the plates from moving around in here, because if they come too far back, the loader, when it's going to pick it up, will have a difficult time. So you want them to
It
be
looks like you got
square.
some space here.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't just if it's a little bit, it's no problem.
You can't have it too tight or else the
Right.
plates aren't going to go
Yeah, they'll
in.
bind up in there.
Yeah.
And then you can put up to 90 plates, 90 of these plates.
And is that what this height is for, to tell you you're
Yeah.
full or whatever that height
Mhm.
is?
So
Anything
don't
below
exceed
that's
that.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you don't have to put. You can do 62 packs or whatever.
Well, we wouldn't be putting that much anyway because we don't normally get that many plates at a time. So.
Oh, okay.
Now, where does the paper come out?
Right here.
Okay.
And this pulls out and scrap it.
Oh, nice. That's very nice.
Yeah, it doesn't detach, but you can pull it out now.
Yeah.
Now, when you're putting these sheets in, the paper, a lot of times, I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if it's like, crazy out or torn or any kind of a thing that the loader, when it goes to try to pick it up, it may have a difficult time, and then you'll get some kind of an error regarding that.
Okay.
So just push it in. It'll automatically lock there. You can just remove that lid there and get it back out. Again, all the
Pull it like this?
yeah,
Okay.
and then the bottom one is going to be the same. So what happens is this will raise up, and then do the same thing.
Okay.
This is, but you have to push the button to tell it to do that.
Okay.
Again, all the doors have safety keys on them. So if you open, this one will not open. This one's going to lock once we close it. But all the rest of them will, if you pull it, it's going to open that side right where he's
This
at.
one, this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when this is locked, how do you unlock it?
That was the computer?
The computer does. Okay.
That
You
little,
tell-
that
Takes
little
care of that.
square by the
Yes.
door.
So it knows that we shut it.
Is that why it's red?
No,
Or
that's
no?
red because of the low amount of plates.
Oh,
Only,
okay.
only because we haven't told it how many plates it has. So I don't know how many you grabbed, but let's just say it was 5 or 8 or. You're going to drag this arrow over to here, and hopefully it'll stay.
Okay.
And then you just tell it the number of plates. In this case, let's just say 5 for example, and put a whole box in 30. But see how it combined the two,
Uh-huh.
so it's 12 now. So when it runs out of one, it'll automatically go to the next one.
Okay.
So you have to physically tell it how many plates are in there?
Yes, yes. If you tell it wrong, say example, there's 8 plates in there, it'll keep going until it runs out.
Right.
Even though it might say 0, it'll keep trying. And then the opposite, if you say you got 20 and you only got 5, as soon as it gets out, it's going to say no more plates. And then
It's not
once,
too finicky
yeah, then once you do that, okay, this bottom one is if for some reason you need to load them from the front.
then. Okay.
There could be a time where there's a problem with the loader,
Mm-hmm.
and then we deactivate it, and then you're gonna have to manually load it.
Okay.
Like manually feeding a printer.
So you have to manually, I know you showed us a button back there the other day, but you can't just like, if there's one more plate, you want to open the drawer, you gotta load it in, and you just go in the back. But you can't do that without telling the computer here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Now, if it's out of plates, it's going to tell you it needs plates, but then you can move these arrows off and then move this one up and manually load it. Which hopefully you won't have to do. But again, if it errors, the plate's coming out the front. There are 2 ways to shut the machine off. The main way, which you're more likely to do, is this button right here, or this dial. So it says switch off the recorder.
Okay.
You click that, yes, it shuts the machine off. The other way is you could come over to the button here, but the button is designed that if you push it down, it's not going to shut the machine off. And you'll hear this beep here. The way this works is you have to push it down until it beeps, release it, and then push it again,
Okay.
and that will start the shutdown procedure. And that's to prevent you from somebody from accidentally just doing like that.
Now, do you
So
need
you
to-
can't just shut the red button
You can, but that you only want to do that when it loses communication or for some reason there's a problem. Because if you ever come over here, like say the supersetter's not working, sometimes it's going to lose communication with the shooter. And you come over here and you push the button, nothing happens. You don't hear a beep or anything. It's totally lost. The only way to do it is you got to
Okay.
But
So,
typically, at the end of the day, you want to do it either
Just do
this
that
way
one.
or
You're normally going to do it
from the computer.
And you wouldn't have to each day move that red,
No.
the dial
Don't
pretty much
do
stays
this.
that way unless there's an issue.
Exactly.
Okay.
now what's the best way, like we tend to get storms a lot.
Yep.
And,
Well, you can't hear it too.
so like the best way to like completely shut it down so it doesn't get a power surge is just to turn it off at the computer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Because this isn't any more off when you do this than it is when you turn it off with the computer. Is it, like sometimes it's like a sleep mode, but it's still
No,
partially
yeah,
on.
no.
It's
just
off
like
once
that.
you
Yeah.
hit it.
It's
Okay.
completely off.
Yeah. I mean, again, you can.
Storm wise, that'd be better to say
Yeah.
that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
This is for manually loading.
And you have to double click the apply.
well, yeah. I just double click all the time, so I don't think you absolutely have to double click.
Okay.
But I'm gonna run a test plate. And in this main view, see, it's showing you put the plate in from the front.
Uh-huh.
All right, so let's just grab a plate.
Okay.
All right, so here you're just gonna slide the plate in all the way. Yep. Well, it just has to be centered. I'll show you why. Because if you put the plate in crooked, like this, it's the way you load the plate. You're gonna hit this button. If you put it in crooked, it's gonna take it in and spit it back out. And the thing's gonna take it crooked.
I don't like it.
It's a picky eater.
It's right.
But you're just gonna straighten it up. You want it fairly centered, and then hit the button. And then if you look at the screen, it's gonna show you a representation of what it's doing, how it's loading. not 100% accurate. It's just a representation of where it should be.
Okay. And that the yellow thing is the plate. Okay.
It doesn't have
Singing it.
X-ray technology in there.
Camera in there. There's nothing that tells you how it's exactly. So it's loading on the drum.
Oh.
And then you're going to see a graphical representation of the burning the plate here in a minute.
Is there flames?
You want to shoot it, put the paper in and shoots it outside in a box.
So you'll see it start to turn what's purple.
Okay.
The laser's not purple, the laser's red. The original plate setter we had was a purple laser, but
I just haven't changed it.
yeah, it's too much to pay for the graphics.
Yeah. Well, it's strange to have any graphics at all because the old one obviously didn't have any of that stuff.
It's imaging. It's going to go to 80%.
Where did you click?
Right.
ABC.
Oh, gotcha.
So this is the device. ABC. A lot of times we're going to tell you, we're talking to you on the phone, and if I'm talking to you or the tech's talking, other tech, support tech, we'll say click on the wrench, and then we're going to look in here for some different things. One mainly is going to send information. Because a lot of times what's going to happen is we're going to want to look at this one, this measurement data, and in this particular one, the laser temperature has to be within this range. If the room was really hot or really cold, and the temperature drops either below or above this range, it will not operate.
Hey, Richard,
This is the main.
I want to take off that other call.
Okay.
That maintenance.
Okay. All right. I'll call you. Let you
Nice
know.
meeting you.
Should see you again sometime.
So yeah. So this is the main one we're gonna be concerned about. All these, the rest of the machine will operate even if it's outside of it. Trying to think what else you're gonna use in here. Maintenance. I'll show you. I'll end up showing you this part. Speaking of maintenance.
Simply just.
Now the plate's gonna come out right here.
I have a question. We have processed less plates, so is this safe to have them in here for an extended period of time? As long as it's in here, it's just as good as being in there.
It's dark enough. It's
Here it comes. The old one didn't do that?
no. Well, no, I haven't had automatic plate
So Seth,
loading
is that
ever.
punch?
Oh, really? Oh, so you had to always.
Broken. I had to manually put each one in and take it out each time.
So this is a cool upgrade for you then.
He took it from the old plate,
Okay.
so I believe that should work.
So I guess we need to change our plate orientation when it's sitting,
Yeah.
since it twists it.
Yeah, since it turned it.
Well, I mean, we could have it come out either way. So whatever way you prefer.
I don't have a preference. What do you have, Seth?
Yeah, you're the one that has to come pick it
Oh,
up.
yeah, this way.
Like that way instead of. You just have to pick it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Either way, change it. So.
And that, actually now, when I see it, I definitely went the other way because since they are processed less and they sit there for very long, they can mess up the plate since it's above the thing.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah.
definite benefit for us to have it
I'll
the
end
other
up
way.
changing that.
That's why we cover it with the
Okay.
tablecloth a lot of times. if
But
we
the spinners are very cool.
Leave it for very long. Yeah, it's
Jams or something happens and the plate doesn't go through, and this part will open. If you open anything, it's going to trigger an error.
Yeah.
But just so you can see, this
Here's
is
the error.
this is we call it the suck bar, and this is what's going to grab the plate or the paper. So obviously, if the paper's on top, it's going to grab the paper, puts it in these rollers. That's what shoots it down there, and it comes back, gets the plate, comes back and gets the plate, and then feeds the plate in by these rollers.
Okay.
A lot of times, what happens is if you get an error in there and it stops, the bar is going to be on the plate.
Okay.
You may have to come in here and lift this bar up, and then either pull the plate back or get the sheet out.
Okay.
If you do, don't grab it by this. This is like a thin aluminum. You got to get it from underneath and lift up.
Okay.
Most of the time, it's better to have two people because you're going to go. If you just pull up on one side, the motors are independent, so you got to pull this up and get the plate out. This little thing gizmo here is the double sheet detector, so it is going to determine if your paper and plate were to try to come in at the same time, it's going to stop it. Two plates, same thing. But earlier, when you grabbed the plate manually, you were going up, you had the paper on it. Okay, I'll show you on my phone. I had to go up to Indianapolis. Customer wasn't paying attention and loaded both of them in there.
And the paper on the plate.
Yeah, that's
Not
I can
good.
show you, disaster. And in this case, it was one of the worst disasters because when they both went in, it loaded the paper onto the drum and then the plate, and then the plate shifted like this. And then when the machine thought everything was fine, when it went to load and the head moves across, I mean, it just totally smashed.
So when loading manually take off the paper.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Gotcha.
I mean, a lot of times you think, how in the world? Why in the world would they do that? But
Yeah.
somebody might not be paying attention, and that's what
In a
happened.
hurry or something.
Yeah. Oh, that was. Yeah, that took me several hours to get the plate out. You have to cut the plate out, cut it in pieces.
Yeah, that isn't like our presses where you just pull the paper out of it.
No. So, the maintenance part for you, the operators, is pretty simple. You only have this one filter here that I'll end up giving you the part number. You'll need to keep your extra filters on hand. That one in the list is called just an air filter. The other thing you're going to end up doing is the punches, emptying the punch trays. I'm not sure how it worked on the other one, and
It had it just like threw it out, and it had like this little magnetic tray that it threw it out into, so I had to like pull the magnet off and then dump it.
okay, in this case you just have the trays here. But this particular door, you're just going to pull forward, lift, stop the beeping again. These are the punch trays.
Okay.
So you're just going to pull these out, empty the tray. But behind the punch tray is going to be the next thing, which is going to be the cleaning roller. So this is the cleaning roller.
Okay.
Okay. These little levers on the end. You're going to lift up and then pull this out. The cleaning roller. It sort of has this like tacky feel to it.
Okay.
That's the way you're going to want to be. And all you're going to do is wipe it down with a cloth with water.
Okay. A wet cloth.
Wet cloth. And then when you put it back in, whoever's going to be the main person, which is going to be you, you can see these little notches in here.
Uh-huh.
You got to make sure that you get them in there. On both sides. See how it's in there?
Uh-huh.
Right there. And then push that lever down.
Down?
Yep. Yep. Just like that. And you'll know what's in there. And then you're going to put these trays back.
Get the training.
And then, of course, every time you pull the door off,
Air.
So how often do you clean the roller?
it's going to tell you.
It's gonna tell you that it's.
Yeah, but it goes by a counter.
Okay.
Can't remember, I think it's 1,000. And you gotta make sure you get this door on right, so the key is gonna go in, so if it feels like, it's not going, you can move it around a little bit.
Okay. So don't force it.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of wiggle it around until it does.
Exactly. But when you're doing that particular thing I just showed you, normally you would come over and you can do open cover, and that just gonna release it. It used to have a lock on it like the other one, but no longer the case. So if you pull on it, it's gonna open.
Okay.
Even if you do open cover, it still triggers the,
Error.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
And then, so how do you get rid of that again?
the errors, you gotta come here, this one,
Okay.
error correction.
Okay.
But once you change an air filter or do the punches or the cleaning roller, you will come here and then hit apply, and it resets this.
Okay.
So as you can see, it's gonna, the hours here, punches, yeah, it's 1,000 plates for the cleaning roller. Hit apply and it'll do it.
Okay.
And that's just based on when you hit apply. There's nothing, no sensors or anything that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you wanted to mess your machine up, you just hit do it and not mess with anything, and it's just as good as new.
Yep.
Okay.
The down here, it'll come up with messages like maintenance is required, such and such. If the messages are in green, nothing is going to happen. The machine's not going to stop operating. Nothing's going to happen. It's just giving you, the green is just information messages.
Okay. It's the red that's bad.
Yes.
Okay.
What gets on that roller? Because there's no like liquid or anything when it. So what are you cleaning off the roller? I was wondering.
Dust.
Yeah. Like from the
Paper maybe.
set.
Because I know with your image setter, we had to actually clean those rollers with all
Well,
the
that was-
chemistry. I was wondering what you were cleaning off with that roller.
Yeah.
Actually, over time, these arrows here, we can manually load and unload a plate. But you're probably never going to use these. We might use it for some reason, when we're doing some service work or some testing or doing something. The CTP user interface is just the operation of the supercylinder. The actual plate making is going to be, that as far as sending plates, is this other one, this shooter 2.
Okay.
And then that will open that up, but that's the one we have to get.
Connected to Zytron. That's why you need to get a hold of Zytron. Okay. Yeah, this one is definitely more sophisticated than the last one.
This cover, a lot of times I'm gonna have to tell you, you gotta take the cover off. Remove the cover. This one has key and an e-stop. If you accidentally hit that, obviously it's going to not operate. And you can try air correction, then you gotta figure out, oh, that button.
You have to pull these out. Yes, these types of ones. Or
Yeah, so if it's in like that.
yeah.
So this is the hit the button, the on, yeah, thank you.
A little bit longer.
Yeah. So this is the regulator with the air coming in. So I've got it set at like 7 bar. If I mean, you're going to know if your air compressor's not working or some issue like that. I don't know, maybe something could happen with the hose or something, or somebody took it off. If that drops to 0, obviously, it's not going to operate. But so sometimes we may come in, tell us what the air pressure is at. We can adjust it here, increase the pressure or decrease
Okay.
Right, but 7's where you want it, where you recommend it
it.
to be.
In this, yes,
How
What's
often-
7 in PSI? I'm just curious.
around 90, I think.
Okay.
something like that.
And how would you adjust it?
Well, you adjust it for that.
Yeah.
Like any.
Okay.
Tune it up.
Okay. Just wanted it on the video.
Do you ever need to check this every once in a while to make sure there's no water and stuff in there? Because I know with some, they fill up with.
In your case, probably not, because you got a good, really. These covers just go on like this. You're gonna get used to it where you know how it feels it when in there, correct? There are gonna be occasions where we might tell you, you gotta take this whole cover off. Okay, and if we do, pull this one forward. The reason is you might have a plate stuck on the table. There's two tables, the load table and the unload table. The way you're gonna take this one off is you're just gonna like put your thumb fingers here, push it forward. The main thing you gotta remember is to take these connections off.
Okay.
You can even do this with power on. This is what she. And then you're gonna remove this, put it up against the wall or something like that, and then on the end here, and here, it's a cap that you unscrew them, and this bar will flip up.
Okay.
Might as well show you. This is going to be like a rare occurrence, but it will happen at some point.
Let me move out of the way here.
You're going to need a 3mm Allen.
3mm Allen.
Hopefully you won't have to do it, but eventually you will. But sometimes the plate will be in the system and it can't correct the error, and you have to. It's going to tell you that there's a plate in there and you got to remove it. Because I'm sure you're not going to want to wait several hours or days for Chuck to come out and have to remove a plate. That's all it is. So you got this table. The top table is the unload table. Bottom table, the load table. Depending on what position this is in, like if it's in this position, you're not. If the plate was up here, yeah, you could easily get this one out. If it was on the other one. So now I'm going to take this cover off. This is the motor that operates the table. We can disconnect here, and I can move the table by rotating it here. The table's coming out. A lot of times, you'll see the plate, you move the gate down, pull the plate out. So, talk to the tech support person, they might tell you that's what you're gonna need to do.
And you don't have to rotate that table back.
Once you do the error correction, it automatically starts resetting.
Just a ladder.
So the way it pulls a plate in or takes the plate out, it's got these suction cups. So when it's loading the plate, it will go and grab the plate and then flip back in, goes past these sensors, lots of sensors. So when you're running, I don't know how the screen works, but so it's going to pull a plate in, load a plate, put it on the drum. Table's gonna move. It's gonna go grab the second plate, load it, wait, holding that plate, and then when it finishes imaging, unloads this plate, loads the next plate, and then out. The plate goes out the back. So if you running multiple plates, you're gonna have 2 plates in the system. I certainly don't remember ever being recorded. Go back and listen to that. Go, wow, that guy's got a really southern accent.
We'll send you a copy if you want. You can just, you don't have to show up next time. You can just play the video.
Well, it's funny. Customer told me, and I'm going to end up showing you over here about the chiller. But I was flying somewhere and the customer, you could bump something,
Crack it.
break it.
Okay. It's a little more flimsy than the rest.
Super careful.
Yeah, you just gotta be careful. You probably need 2 people. Most of the time,
Definitely my favorite thing.
big guy like him is no problem. You're just gonna lift it up, lean it, put it on the channel there. These cables, you gotta look at them closely because the bottom one is different than the top 2, but the top 2 can get mixed up. And so you'll see the label of the number. And you know, if it would have been a lot easier if they'd have made it 53 and 54 or 33 and 34, but they made it 33 and 53. When you get older, 33 and 53 start to look alike. So you gotta make sure you get them right. This one I'll let you put on there so you know. Make sure it's like that.
Like that.
Good job, Nick.
Same way with this one, you want to put this one on, you're going to get the feel of it. This one is a little bit more tricky when this button is in this position, but you should still go there. So, yeah. Yeah, you don't have to be too scared, but yeah, you got to make sure it gets in there. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so since I'm at that point, we've already got it in an error condition, I'm gonna take this bottom cover off.
Okay.
Again, 3mm Allen. The original Supersetters, this cover was crazy heavy, it was like super heavy duty. Steel, they made it a lot lighter, which is great for anybody that has to take it off. We have 2 Supersetters that look exactly the same. The difference is this one we call the A106, the other one is just a regular 106. The main difference is with the A106 is the A only has one laser module, which is that one I showed you where it's $80,000 is that thing right there.
Okay.
So because it only has one, we have a different chiller.
Okay.
So this is the chiller. and it uses antifreeze. It's mixed with water. So here's the level. I got it just above the maximum, but you may get a message that says the coolant must be refilled. Actually, what that means is it needs to be added.
Okay.
It doesn't happen very often, but if it does, then you will have to add some. Okay. Most of the time, the support tech is going to tell you what you need to do.
Okay.
And I'm going to show it to you, but the machine has to be off for that to occur.
Okay.
So I'm going to shut it off. And this beep, release, and it's going to start a shutdown procedure.
Okay.
The lights do mean something.
Okay.
It's in the book. I don't remember what the lights are.
Oh, come on.
It's not a big thing.
I mean, the messages are going to tell you. So
Yeah.
to try to remember whatever beep, different light sequences are.
I'm turning off.
Warning.
If it's in an error condition and you try to do just a regular shut off, it's going to try to correct the error first and then shut off. In this case, it's just so.
Okay.
The important thing about when you're putting coolant in, when you look at this right here and you see the level, this doesn't mean anything until this lever here in here. You can see it right here. Until that is down.
Okay.
Because once you close this, this will start to evaporate some. Okay?
Okay. So it needs to be down.
Down.
Okay.
And it has to be down to put any in it.
Okay.
Actually, I forgot one step. This little red stopper here. So if you're gonna have to add it, you remove that. You're checking the level, and then you add. It's extremely important that when you add, I'm gonna get a little bottle, but I got it here. So this is the unmixed coolant.
Okay.
If you were in Germany and you went to an auto parts store, right off the shelf, G30, because you'll see it says on here it's for Mercedes or any of those vehicles. Okay, here we mix this 1 part coolant, 3 parts water, the RO water. I've already got it mixed right here. I use this because I just for mixing purposes. We'll probably transfer this to a smaller bottle, but you want to be extremely careful when you're filling this. I mean, you don't want to use any kind of a big container. Just want like a water bottle or something, and pour it in just a little bit at a time. Because on these particular ones, we get problems where the customer will spill it. It'll go down here into the electronics of the fan, and the fan is shot, and then has to be replaced. So you're going to want to remember.
No pressure.
Lever down, stop her off, fill it. Most important thing, close it.
Okay.
Because if you turn it back on with the
With it open.
Same thing.
it'll shoot right out there.
When do you put your stopper in, your red stopper?
When you're finished. So
Okay.
close it, put the stopper in, that's it. It's not very often. Hopefully you don't have to do it every 3 years. We drain the coolant and then put new coolant in it. This is the newest one because the original coolant was blue. The press has coolant in it. It's blue. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I don't think so.
Thing. just to make it difficult.
Yeah. This is just gonna be one. Oh, so this is the drum belt.
Okay.
You're never really gonna do anything except, well, if the belt gets old or we hear this cracking sound or this popping sound, we may tell you in order to quiet it down, you can spray it with silicone spray, but the belt will end up needing to be replaced. And one of the main things about the safety feature is, and this happens a lot. I mean, you may end up doing it yourself too, but because sometimes we'll say, put the key in, because we want to see it operate or something. Most of the time, we're not going to tell you that, but we're going to do it all the time. And the main reason is because you don't want this thing to operate and somebody accidentally put their finger or something in the.
Yeah.
Somebody will. And like I said, I can show you that. It is a little bit thinner metal. Doesn't always fit exactly in spot. You might have to move it around a little bit. Turn it back on. Okay, don't be a cover or something we don't have on
Yeah. You got a long, like 1 second, yeah.
Okay, so this is the generic error, and this is about the safety loop, so we know it's a cover or an e-stop. So then you just have to go back and figure out which one, what's not on correctly. Just gonna go back and make sure that. Usually if you hear like that air or whatever, well, that cover was on correctly. Usually, not always. This one has a key as well, so make sure that, did that one, that one, that one. That one. Let's try it.
Yeah, I know.